Good morning, everyone. So we are doing this video because we need answers. This was really our last resort. It's something we did not want to do. We did not want to have to come to social media, but Birmingham Police Department is giving us no other choice. So our oldest son, Mingo Allen II, they claim was found hanging from a tree in Birmingham, Alabama, found hanging from a tree. So we have done all of the proper protocol, and this was back in April. So we have submitted the open records request that they recently just denied, which is why we're having to make this video right now. Also, the other thing is the detective, dealing with the police department, making requests to the mayor's office. It has gone nowhere. We keep getting the runaround. We referred the case even to the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, which is our State Bureau of Investigations, and yet they still chose to stonewall even them. So we know that something is wrong, and we want to figure it out. So the only, I think what is the most crazy thing about this is that our son was missing, and I'll let my husband elaborate more on that because he was more a part of that firsthand than I was, because I was at work at the time. But our son was missing, and when I think it was like the next day, we received a call from the coroner's office, and we had to actually identify his body. So at that moment, they had a picture, and I asked, could we see his body, because like the case number, they had like the plaque over his neck on the case number, and I was like, well, we were just so confused and so distraught at the time. So needless to say, the very next day, unbeknownst to us, his body was released to his spouse. And when it was released, our son was cremated. So this is what we have of our son, and it was mailed to us by a third party, which we are grateful for. But this has been traumatizing. It has been a lot, and we just want answers. So they said that our son died suicide by hanging. And so if he did indeed die by suicide, which there was a note, if he did die by suicide, then we just wanted to understand why, because then that will make us advocates for, suicide prevention or whatever. They've been giving us the runaround, so we don't know what's going on right now, and we just want answers.
And I know the Birmingham Police Department, this is a case number to y'all. This is our child.
Yep.
He was a grown man, but this is our child.
Yes.
It's people that love him. He has a daughter. He has family. He has friends. And the lack of empathy, the pushback, the lack of consideration. I'm at this place with it at this point. I don't want to talk to the mayor's office. Tried that.
They didn't contact us back.
I don't want to talk to the police department.
They had a sergeant from the police department call us instead of the mayor. But go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
This is a closed case. And from everybody I've spoken with, open records should be given to anybody. Mm-hmm. We can't have them as their parents. We referred this to Aaliyah,
Alabama Law Enforcement Agency,
and it took them a couple of months to get the case. And then when they got it, they're telling them no. So if this is such an open and shut case, why can't nobody see what happened? Mm-hmm. I want to know what happened. We will never stop.
Never,
ever stop. I want to know what happened. And I want all of this information given to Aaliyah today. And
we already have a special agent assigned. Birmingham Police Department is not cooperating with him. Like I stated just a few minutes before, when I reached out to the mayor's office, the first lady who took my information, apparently, she told me to call, that somebody would contact me within 14 days. I decided to follow up, me being me, and I called back, and they had no record of my phone call. So the other lady actually took down my information, and then that evening, I received a call around between 6:30 and 7 o'clock at night from a sergeant at the police department. It almost was like they were trying to intimidate us to stop, and I'm not going to stop.
And the crazy part about it is they insult our intelligence and told us we can't have the open records because we're not next to kin. But when they needed somebody to identify the body, we were next to kin then. Mm-hmm. Stop playing games with us. I don't know what was done. I do not know what somebody didn't do.
Yeah.
I'm not accusing anybody. But what I am saying is somebody is going to tell us what happened. And over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to do videos telling how we've been treated throughout this whole process, so y'all can see what we have been through since April. I have literally been chasing my son, our son, since April 2nd. It will be October next week. This is crazy.
It's crazy.
So that's all we have to say for right now. Birmingham Police Department Homicide Division, do what's right.
And the detective, we found out that he was with the homicide division while we were identifying his body. They had him, and nobody even contacted us from the Birmingham Police Department. The detective actually contacted me because I called and left 2 messages, and that was over the course of the weekend. And our son, by the time he called us, our son had already been cremated, and his spouse had already left the city. So I'm just saying, we need to know what happened, and we need to know now. Y'all, please help us. We need your help. Please spread this, share this, y'all. Please. We need help.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Hey y'all, so we just kind of wanted to come back on here and clear some things up. I was reading the comments. What I do want to also say is that I don't know why on TikTok it's not allowing the video to be shared. Somebody reached out to me and that share button is no longer there. So please feel free to download it just so we can get the word out and make sure that, you know, this gets out there. And we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate everybody and all the love and all the comments and the likes and everything and the reposts. And we thank everybody on every platform that we put it on. Now, just to clarify, as far as people were asking about why, you know, him being cremated. What happened was the last day that we spoke with his wife was the day that we identified his body. We've not heard from, seen, or anything since. So he was actually cremated. You know, the body was turned over to her and he was cremated. The next thing is the bag that you saw of his remains were a partial bag that came from someone else. We've already, you know, and we know who the person is, who the source is, and it is a reliable source. So the third thing is, as far as an attorney, yes, we have actually reached out to attorneys, but because the case was ruled suicide, then they couldn't help us. That is the reason why we were requesting his records to see and to get, you know, the State Bureau of Investigations in on the case, which they are, so that they could get those documents to see if his death was ruled properly. So I hope that clears things up. We'll be still coming on here and telling y'all, you know, the story and what happened.
So I'm gonna just tell you very briefly how I found out. I text my son. He didn't text me back. He always texts me back. I woke up the next morning, he still hadn't texted me back. I thought, well, okay, maybe he's busy. So by lunchtime, he hadn't contacted me back, so I called him. And when I called, someone answered his phone. And I said, can I speak to Mingo? And they said, this is Mingo's phone. I said, who is this? And that person was his wife. And she just basically said that he didn't come home. And there's some details in there I don't really want to get into, you know, just the very personal details. So I told her, well, if he didn't come home, you know, is that common? No. So I said, well, did you call the police? She was like, no. I was like, well, hang up and call the police. So I hung up and called my wife. She was at work out of town. And she said, you go over there so you can be there when she gives the police report. Well, I was actually there when she gave the police report, and I don't want to say any details what she said. Then they told us that, okay, they had found him. We're like, what? I was excited. So they gave her address. She sent me the address. She got to the address before me, and they wasn't there. So we ended up going to a couple of more locations. To answer your question, he was not at any of those locations. So that day kind of wind down. It was a very long day, a very, very long, stressful day. Like one of the hardest days of my life, because I just knew we would find him. And then me and my wife, we met up when she got back in town, and we just sat in the car and we just consoled each other. I mean, this is
unbelievable.
Our first child. Our first child is like missing. You know, this ain't real. We're gonna find him. We're gonna find him. That's the faith we had. But then my wife, you know, said, hey, let's go to this area over there where he lives, and let's see, you know, let's just go over there. She had never, you know, she hadn't been in that area since he moved. And she says there's a park near here. I'm like, I don't know,
because that's where he would normally go. He loves being outdoors.
So we rode around. We found the park. Lo and behold, my wife like pulling this park. So we pulled in that park. When we got in that park, I'm jumping out the car. I'm running around. I'm like calling his name, thinking he's there. Well, y'all, the ironic thing is, that's the park he was found in the day before, and we have never been in that park before.
Yep.
Never set a foot in that park. So the next morning, we got a call from Irondale Police Department that said, you guys come on back down. Y'all need to fill out the missing person report, because we stopped the first one because we thought he was located.
And we were going to be on the news.
Yes, we was going to go on. We knew a contact that was going to help us get on the news. Well, so when we're sitting there at Irondale, we're filling it out. The person said, let me go get the approval from my supervisor. When he came back, we were getting ready to sign it. and my wife's phone rang, and it was the coroner's office. And they said, we have found a John Doe, and we need y'all to come identify. I bet y'all are asking, how did the coroner know y'all? Well, the coroner said because he had on his employment jacket, his work jacket, he called around in the area and found a place that had the name on his jacket. And sure enough, he spoke to someone at the job and said, hey, have you do you have anything going on with any of your employees? He said, yeah, I got a guy that hadn't shown up for work, and ironically his parents came up here looking for him. And then he gave him our phone number, and that's how we ended up at the coroner's office.
And we'll do some more parts on this, y'all. We just don't want to make these videos too long, but we wanted to just come back and do a follow-up. Okay, y'all, so we are now going to talk about our ride from the Irondale Police Department to the coroner's office. And so it was very difficult because we knew we were going to the coroner's office. So I had and excuse the background noise, y'all, we're at a park. We just feel like this is the right place and the most peaceful place for us to tell this so he can kind of stay calm. So forgive the background noise. But anyway, I felt really literally like I had to throw up because of the just the feeling of me knowing that this could possibly be our son. So we're riding, on the freeway, and almost in kind of a quiet stillness, but also trying to have small talk just to keep ourselves occupied so we're not filled with the anxiety that I know I felt. And so as we get to downtown Birmingham, and because I had to Google where the coroner's office was, so we get to downtown Birmingham and we're riding on this street. And when I tell y'all, I don't even know how to explain to you the anxiety that I was feeling, the anxiousness that I was feeling in that moment. And so like I said, as we're riding down the street, we find a parking space on the back side of it. We have to walk all the way around because they are moving their building. When we get around to the doorway, we didn't know what to do. So it was a doorbell. I think it was a doorbell for us to ring. Y'all don't quote me on that because I can't remember exactly. But anyway, needless to say, these two ladies were coming up. They let us in. This was the longest hallway I had ever seen, it felt like. I told them that we were coming there to identify a body, so they led us where we needed to go and took us to that office. When we got to that office, we were greeted by the coroner. And we went and it was like, y'all, it's old school because they're moving buildings. So we walk into kind of like this boardroom looking thing where they have this old school wooden table, these old school leather chairs, and we sit down. He comes in and there's a folder in his hand, and in the folder he goes in to take out this paper, but he didn't realize that I actually saw the picture of our son. And so I was just, my heart fell in my stomach. And so he explained to us that, there had been a John Doe found, went through the whole little spiel, and said they wanted us to identify whether this was our son or not. So as he opened the folder and we saw our son laying deceased on the table, not his, of course not his entire body, but they only had him like from the chest up, and they had the plaque with his case number across this part of his neck. And so, and the way his eyes looked, y'all, they were kind of like closed. When he was a little boy and people heard his feelings, he would like do this cry, and he looked like he had been crying. That's how his eyes looked to me. Like he had been crying. And he told us, that he would give us a moment. And I let Mingo, of course, tell his side. But I told him, he said he would give us a moment. To just look. Then I saw my baby. And so I had so many questions. And so anyway, I let Mingo tell his part of what happened because, I need to get myself together.
So when we got to this hospital, it looked like an abandoned hospital. Mm-hmm. The coroner's office was still in the old hospital because they had built a new one next door. And I remember going down that hallway. It just reminded me of an 80s film where the lights looked like they're flickering. I mean, my heart was about to thump out my chest. And like Karen said, the coroner greeted us. He sat us in the boardroom. Well, whereas Karen saw the picture, I didn't. So they slid the folder over to me, and I remember opening that folder, and I felt like my life just left my body. I was like, this is my boy, this is my guy, this is my best friend. I was telling myself the whole time, it's gonna be the wrong person. This ain't gonna be him. We gonna say, oh no, that's not our son. It was him. And as Karen said, he looked like he had been crying. And I felt weak as a father. I felt weak as a man, because no matter what I know how to do or who I know, it couldn't help him. And just the thought that he went through this by himself, I didn't even know if I would be able to do this video. But it's necessary. It's necessary, because Deuce deserves that.
Yes.
So when after we got the folder, and I explained to the coroner my account of what happened to me to that day, how we ended up there, he said, hold on, I'll be right back.
Sorry about that, y'all. I had to get myself together so Mingo could finish. Okay.
So the coroner said, hold on, I'll be right back. He left the room, and he came back, and me and Karen just looking at each other. We crying, we falling out. Everything you think we would be doing, we were doing while he was gone. He came back in, we still was going through all of our emotions. He gave me this card, and I flipped the card over, and on the back of the card, it had a case number, and it had a detective's name, and then the card said, Homicide Division. And I looked at Karen, and I said, Homicide Division? And she looked at me, and then so we kind of asked the coroner. He said, just call this number. And so we left, y'all. It was just that cut and dry. I mean, we wanted to see his body. They wouldn't let us see his body. They wouldn't let us take a picture of the photo. We don't know if you can't do that in Alabama. We don't know. We left there confused, broken, and mad.
30-year-old Mingo Allen II was found hung down in Birmingham, Alabama at the beginning of April. Now, the craziest part about this is I bet you nobody has heard about this, because I just now heard about this last night. His mom and dad has desperately been trying to find out what happened to their son. They've reached out to the Birmingham Police Department, and they haven't been giving them no answers. They also reached out to the Bureau, who the Birmingham Police Department have already been stonewalling and not giving any information. I'm going to show y'all this clip real quick, and I'll be right back.
I think what is the most crazy thing about this is that our son was missing, and I'll let my husband elaborate more on that, because he was more a part of that firsthand than I was, because I was at work at the time. But our son was missing, and when I think it was like the next day, we received a call from the coroner's office, and we had to actually identify his body. So at that moment, they had a picture, and I asked, could we see his body, because like the case number, they had like the plaque over his neck on the case number, and I was like, well, we were just so confused and so distraught at the time. So needless to say, the very next day, unbeknownst to us, his body was released to his spouse, and when it was released, our son was cremated. So this is what we have of our son, and it was mailed to us by a third party, which we are grateful for. But this has been traumatizing. It has been a lot, and we just want answers. So
now, that's what's so fucked up and crazy. Now, why would they hurry up and rush and cremate this young man before his family is able to see him, knowing damn well they wanted to see him, and they was telling them that they wanted to see him? They didn't give them a second chance for another autopsy. They didn't give them a chance to even lay their eyes on their son. Mingo Allen's mom and dad explained how when they saw the picture of Mingo Allen, they had this plaque over his neck as if they was hiding his neck and didn't want anybody to see it. So on that photo, they had that plaque hiding over his neck. They wouldn't allow them to see him, and also they wouldn't even allow them to take pictures of the photo that they were showing them. Now that they've been consistently reaching out and trying to get the documents and getting the information that's supposed to be public records, they've been trying to tell them that they're not next of kin. But they were next of kin enough to be able to come down there and to be able to verify if that was their son or not. I have no idea who the spouse is. The family has not mentioned the spouse. But if they're giving the mom and the dad a hard time, then I say that y'all get the spouse involved and have the spouse going down there and demanding all of that paperwork and demanding some answers. There's absolutely zero reason we should be at the end of September this year, and this happened at the beginning of April. I believe that they said that it happened on April 2nd. Here's another example of why black people jump up quickly anytime that a black brother or sister is found hung from a tree. Yes, I understand that self-unaliving is an issue, and I definitely understand that mental health awareness is very real. But when you have situations like this, when a black brother was found unalive and the family is demanding to be able to see him, and then they quickly rush to hurry up and cremate him, that's when you feel like something is wrong, and that's when you feel like you need to get everybody involved so therefore justice can be served. Now, if they treated people appropriately and did the right things by people and allowed people to be able to see their child when this family was demanding to be able to see their child before they rushed to cremate him, people probably wouldn't be jumping up and thinking that something suspicious was going on here. But the fact that they jumped up quickly to be able to hide this and to try to sweep it underneath the rug and try to keep the family from being able to see him lets people know that there was something foul and suspicious and fucked up going on. I have never, one time in my life out of the many of white brothers and sisters I have known to self-unalive themselves ever heard them hurry up and cremate them before somebody in the family got to see that person. But this has happened multiple times when it's happened to a black brother or sister, where they'll quickly try to hurry up and cremate them, so therefore a second autopsy cannot be done, and or the family cannot see him to see if there was any bruises and or broken bones or anything done to his body. In fact, they usually take pictures of the entire body without anything covering that body, and also takes pictures of all of the injuries. Why aren't there photos of this young man's entire body? And if there is, that family should be able to get those photos, and that family should be able to get that picture that they showed to them, so therefore that family has it. It's supposed to be public record, and it's especially supposed to be available for the family. There is zero reason why this mom and dad should have to fight tooth and nail to be able to find out exactly what happened to their son. Last night I just now found out about this, and I told them last night when I get up this morning I will be helping to push this information out, so that way everybody around our nation can find out exactly what happened to Mingo Allen. If something foul happened to Mingo Allen II, then this family deserves to know exactly what happened, and they deserve justice. And the only way they're going to truly be able to find out if some foul play was done is by them being able to get all of that information that Birmingham Police Department did collected on this situation. They did say that there was a self-unaliving note that was left. I do not know if the family has seen that note, but I feel like that family not only needs to see that note, but they also need to get that note as well and take that note to one of them writing experts to see if that handwriting actually matched their son's handwriting. I feel like now that they done quickly hurried up and had him cremated the very next day after the family said that they wanted to see him, one of the biggest ways that they'll be able to find out if something foul and funny happened right here to Mingo Allen, they need to get that letter checked and to see if that handwriting matched his handwriting. And if they say that that note was left on the computer, then they need to check that hard drive of that computer and also check the location of that computer to see where that note was typed up, and also see if there was any cameras in that area where that note was being typed up to see if that was actually him that typed that note. I know notes can be left on phones too, but notes can be pinged at too. Where you left that note, there's a timestamp that says where that note was created. And also you can check that phone to see where it was located at, to see if there was some cameras right there to see if he was actually the one that typed that note on that phone as well. But the most foul and bogus and fucked up thing that they done goddamn me did is hurry up and rush to cremate that young man, knowing damn well that family wanted to see him, and knowing damn well that family probably was going to want to do a second autopsy. I want to send my prayers and love to Mingo Allen's family, and I'm truly hoping y'all get to the bottom of this and y'all get the answers that y'all are looking for. And I'm truly hoping that if something foul happened to Mingo Allen, that they truly bring justice for this young man.